This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And this half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, light, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, and yes, even Medicare products. And they handle all sorts of insurance needs. They do everything they can to make sure you're fully insured. And they also do everything they can to make sure they save you money wherever they can, because customer service means everything to them. At Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury, go to purdyinsurance.com. And very pleased to be joined by great friend of the show, the outstanding Bob Nightengale, USA Today. Bob, welcome back. Great to have you with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Dave.
I have to start with the tale of woe. The Colorado Rockies, who are 8-42 at this point, and they've lost 104 games in the previous two seasons entering this one, haven't made the playoffs since 2018. When you look at that franchise, what are the issues? Is it ownership? Is it management? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, some of it just loyalty, where they just don't fire people. I mean, they fired Buddy Black last week, and that was kind of a big move for them. But yeah, I mean, for a team that's finishing last every year with one of the worst records, because you have the high draft pick every year, they haven't capitalized on it. I mean, a team like the Dodgers, who are drafting almost last, every year, they're coming up with better players, and that shouldn't happen. So, I know the altitude and stuff is a factor, but yeah, they just haven't developed or drafted the right guys.
Yet they're still drawing over 2 to 2.5 million fans per year. So, when you look at their attendance now, is there any drop-off where the fans are basically saying, hey, look, we kind of had enough ourselves?
A little bit. There has been a drop-off this year, noticeable one. But it's such a great ballpark right in the middle of downtown. And it's become like a huge party atmosphere. So people go there just to kind of party and hang out. And whatever they see in the field, it's just like, okay. Something like going on in the distance, but no, they used to love being there. A little bit like when the Cubs used to be awful and people went to Wrigley Field. Very, very similar.
Look, 6 teams every year are going to finish in last place. I mean, that's just the nature of how seasons play out. But this is historically bad for them along the way. When you look at their situation, how bad is it for baseball that because the White Sox were bad last year and they're still not great this year, but is it bad for baseball that somebody's that bad?
Oh, it is. I mean, you want big thing is you want every team to have a chance to win. That's what they always preach, competitive balance. It took forever for someone losing 110 games, and now there's a White Sox, getting to the 121 level last year. Right now, the Rockies will be over 130. But no, not to be this bad. I mean, it's not good for baseball. When you're not going to win night after night, and they're getting blown out. I mean, the White Sox last year lost a lot of close games.
Yes,
these guys are getting blown out in a ton of them.
Yeah, no, I saw the White Sox in person a couple of weeks ago at Fenway, Bob. You know what struck me about them? I thought their pitching was very good. In fact, I thought their pitching that weekend was very good. I just didn't think they had enough offense. I mean, I thought it was just going to be one of those. There was actually some elements of the White Sox you can build around.
No, I agree. Yeah, there's got a couple of nice young starters there. But they're hoping for is like Luis Robert Jr. in the center fielder to at least step up a little bit so they can trade him, get something for him. But you're right. They're in games because of that pitching, and some better vibe in the clubhouse. I think they're on the same pace as last year. But I don't see them having a big nosedive in the second half like they did a year ago.
All right. I hate to keep sticking on the tough side. I'll get to the positives because there are plenty of positives. But, of course, there was the rumor about Paul Skenes and whether the Pirates would deal him or not. And Ben Cherington had to shut that down. When you see stuff like that, and especially the way the Pirates have handled the off-the-field stuff this year, which is also, in my opinion, historically bad, what's your thoughts on that franchise and where they are? I mean, they fired Derek Shelton, and I don't think you really have much to do with the winning or losing.
No, I mean, you just can't trade Skenes. I mean, a generational arm like that, the fans that go ballistic. I don't care who you get back. You're just talking about prospects. I mean, even the Washington Nationals, they got all those prospects in the Juan Soto trade. It's not like they've been in the playoffs since. So, I don't think there's any way you can trade Skenes. Maybe in a couple of years, if you want to think about it. But when he's not making money, when he's such an iconic arm already, figure in the game, you just can't do that to the fans.
How is the sport hanging in financially because of what's happened with the regional networks? Because teams were relying on a lot of money from regional networks to take care of things like payroll and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, attendance is definitely up. I mean, last weekend was their biggest pre-Memorial weekend since 2012.
Yep.
So, it's really big difference. The TV money, you're right, isn't great like it's supposed to be. Teams are making $35-40 million in some of these cases, but it's still at the gate. It's been good, and I think it's only going to get better TV wise.
Give me a couple of fun stories in the game right now that have really intrigued you.
I think only Detroit Tigers. I mean, that's a great sports town, and that was there a lot when they're going great guns and spent a lot of time there. When they swept the ALCS in 2006 and 11, and then it's kind of sad to see what happened in the World Series. But these guys, that's a great sports town. They've gone through some rough patches, and you look at them now. So I think the best team in the American League, and you can argue that they might be the best team in baseball. The other storyline is probably, the Dodgers. Everybody's worried about the Dodgers ruining the game, and look at them. I mean, they're so messed up pitching wise. We'll see if they even win the division, but it's they got a lot of flaws for being a team with a $300 million payroll.
What does this tell us, if anything, about A.J. Hinch? Because we know what happened with the Astros and how it went down, and now here he is with Detroit. What does it tell us about him and his ability to handle teams?
Yeah, he's used to rebuilds. I mean, he was in the rebuilding situation there in Houston, when they were losing 110 games a year, and kind of rode that out. And now he's doing the same thing. Do the same thing here. So I think it's a situation where he's perfect for the young guys.
How do you view the Mets right now? They just went through the series with the Yankees and the Red Sox. How do you view them to this point? Because Cohen did spend a lot of money. Yeah,
spent a lot of money, and money spent on money was Juan Soto, who's looked absolutely mediocre, and I don't buy this thing. It's like, it takes time to get adjusted when you're a big free agent, new city. He was already in New York last year, so it wasn't like a Devin Williams going from Milwaukee to New York, that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens. I think people in New York, and I was just there, Steve, is the writers are kind of stunned how badly he's played. He's been kind of a loner. I said, well, you know what? He was kind of like that guy in San Diego when they had their only full season with the Padres. They didn't make the playoffs, and he was a loner there and muffled some veterans along the way.
Well, it's interesting because the last time we talked, you brought up San Diego about Juan Soto. It's interesting that theme has continued for him. It just seems to me like he's one of those guys that needs to be in the right situation. And when he's in the right situation, he's really good. When he's not one that he's comfortable with, he doesn't play well at all.
No, he hasn't. And, you think Lindor and Alonso take the pressure off him, but, he's been very quiet. The broadcasters there say that, he'll take the last bus to the ballpark and then kind of just sit by himself, even with other players around. I saw him in Phoenix, and I hardly saw him interacting with any of his teammates, before the game. So, something's not right there.
Yeah, no question. You brought up a hot team in the Tigers. A team that has caught fire in the last 3 weeks has been the Minnesota Twins. What's been your thought on them? Because they were mediocre to start with, and all of a sudden they found a gear.
Yeah, they got help, and the pitching was on fire. So, the pitching kind of carried them. Yeah, and then they still, Carlos Correa's just come up the deal now. Buxton was playing well, Lewis. So it's a good team when they're healthy, but they're just never healthy. But hey, the AL Central is a lot better than people think. People used to say it's the same as the NL Central. The NL Central is much worse. So even during their 13-game winning streak, I think they only picked up, like 3 games in the standings on the Tigers. The Tigers are so good, so is Cleveland, so is Kansas City.
How interested are you about how the Phillies will adjust without Alvarado over 80 games? Because if they make the playoffs, they're not going to have him in the playoffs either.
No, I think they got to go get some help. They were looking for some help anyway. Now they're really much more aggressive. They've reached out to David Robertson. So a few teams, he wanted $15 million to come back at one point, and no one was going to give him that. So I think they'll be in the St. Louis Cardinals. Once they start losing here, they'll trade Ryan Helsley, that sort of thing. And maybe get some guys too from the Baltimore Orioles, maybe Finnegan for the Nationals. So I think they may have to sacrifice a piece of the future to get a reliever right now, because that window's starting to close a little bit. That's going to be an older team.
Exactly. When Tristan Casas got hurt, the first guy I thought of was, hey, how about Anthony Rizzo? Why is Rizzo still unsigned in your mind at this stage? I mean, I know he's 35, I got it, but he makes an infield better just by showing up.
Yeah, I mean, it slipped a little bit the last couple of years. I got to think that when teams reached out, he had a price tag that they don't want. I don't know whether it's, $10 million or $5 million. But it's almost like, okay, if you don't meet it, I'll just as soon stay home. And I think now he's, getting to that point where, now you miss all spring, and, who knows how long it will take to get back. I don't think people think he can miss that much time, step in the lineup and help a win.
This is the pivotal time right here. I usually refer to this time between now and about the 4th of July as like the third round of a major golf tournament. It's moving day. Who do you have in your eye on moving day plus and somebody who's got to move now or else they're going to be left behind?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Padres got to find out who they are.
Yes.
I got to think the Texas Rangers. I mean, they're wasting a lot of good pitching. They got to start getting gear there. They want to stay around with the, in that division, particularly Seattle Mariners. I got to think they got to, get moving here, or else they're going to be left in the dust. Because Houston's so good and everything else. Oakland's better, Anaheim's better. So I think they're kind of in the crossroads right now. Then we'll see about the others. Still early. You got the extra playoff rounds. I think hey, what Atlanta's done, and came back from the dead there. Now of course they're going to have Acuna back this weekend. Strider just came back, so I think it's going to be kind of fascinating to see what they do with this next month.
Bob, great as always. I know you're in the middle of getting something done right now. We appreciate the fact you carved out a couple of minutes for us. Thanks so much.
Sure, my pleasure. Take care, Steve.
And that's Bob Nightengale, USA Today, talking Major League Baseball. This half hour brought to you by our good friends at Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury, go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, yes, Medicare products. I mean, they handle it all. They always make sure that you're fully insured, but they also do everything they can to find ways to save you money so you get the best deal on your insurance, because customer service means everything to them. Just really, really good people that happen to be great pros. That's all at Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com as we continue here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.